Our world is huge and full of wonders. Something absolutely incredible is constantly happening on our planet. Clinical death should undoubtedly be attributed to such unexplained phenomena. People who have looked into the eyes of their own death and woke up after that often remember that they saw a tunnel of light or felt the exit of the soul from the body. What the hero of today's story experienced scared him so much that he completely decided to change his life. When Jeffrey was 19 years old, he tried to commit suicide. After learning that his girlfriend was cheating on him with his best friend, the guy was hungry for pills. Fortunately, the mother was at home and was able to call an ambulance in time. Jeffrey will never forget what happened to him in the hospital. He remembers a doctor standing over him, and then he seemed to come out of his body and moved into the doctor's body. I entered it and saw the faces of his wife and children, his car. I could feel his panic, Jeffrey recalls. Then some disembodied spirit took him by the hand and led him along. During his exit from the body, Jeffrey saw doctors, nurses crowding over him, trying to do everything possible to bring him back to life. The creature led Jeffrey to a pillar of sparkling light. Then suddenly the guy found himself in a room, the walls of which consisted of clouds. Jeffrey guessed it was paradise because he met his grandmother there. But he didn't stay in that room for long. Soon he found himself in a field that smelled of death. Demonic creatures grabbed Jeffrey and dragged him to a strange place full of various cubes pointed at each other. The demons explained that this is hell, and each cube has its own personal hell for each soul. Before Jeffrey was sucked into one of these cubes, the demon told him how everything works here. He explained that people can adapt to any kind of hell, and some people are easier to endure certain torments than others. Therefore, hell is constantly changing. The demon liked to watch people suffer, Jeffrey recalls. In the cube, the guy discovered his personal hell. People fed him rotten food and laughed at him. And then Jeffrey saw all the bad things he had ever done. Jeffrey seemed to inhabit the body and mind of the people he offended every time. I realized how thick-skinned and insensitive I was towards people without even noticing it. Now I felt and experienced the same as they did, he says. Then Jeffrey found himself in a cave, surrounded by kneeling people. One girl had her wrists cut, a man had a rope neck hanging down, a third had the back of his head blown to smithereens. I heard screams from the cave ahead of us. I tried to talk to these people to understand what was going on, but they told me to shut up, otherwise I would be the next to describe my visions to Jeffrey. When Jeffrey closed his eyes, he saw that everyone around him was struggling to keep their eyes open. You can't close your eyes. You can't talk to others. You can't get up. You can't sit down. You can only sit, leaning on your knees and fingertips. All you're allowed to do is look into a hole full of fire, listen to the screams and hope that you won't be next, he says. Jeffrey began to cry, and through his tears he heard a voice that said to him, "If you ask him, maybe he will have mercy on you." The guy began to pray again and again for salvation, and then some disembodied creature appeared in front of him. The spirit asked Jeffrey what he was doing in this place, and then Jeffrey told him that he no longer wanted to be part of the world because the world was unfair and full of deceit. Then the spirit told the truth about Jeffrey. The spirit told Jeffrey that he not only asked, but begged to stay in the material world, that the only reason why the spirit appeared before him was that Jeffrey still had faith in the good that could happen to him. Then Jeffrey was shown what the future holds for him. Among other things, he found out that he would break his back. And this, in fact, subsequently came true. He was told that now that he had chosen life, he needed to go back and correct his mistakes. Although Jeffrey did not want to return, he felt peace and divine blessing when he woke up. Despite the fact that Jeffrey's mind was aware of everything that was happening to him, he remained in a coma for 3 days. And Jeffrey learned an invaluable lesson from his incredible journey to hell and back. The trials of life that fall to us make us stronger, and sometimes even prevent more serious problems. For example, a flat tire on the road saves you from a car accident, which you would inevitably get into if you continued to drive at the same speed. Jeff has completely changed his life thanks to his newfound faith. He is no longer afraid of death. His incredible story shows us that we exist on earth for a reason, and that no misfortune can be a reason to end our lives before the time allotted to us.